Oh. Welcome to Meaningful Mornings. A great leader in our history, his name Raja Bali, had a great guide, his name Rishi Shukra. Rishi Shukra shares with Raja Bali how to be happy in reference to resources. I'll read this verse out to you. Explain this in English, and you analyze your own reference to this verse. Dharmaya yashasirthaya kamaya swajanaya cha panchada vibhajan vittam ihamutra cha modate. Modate, to be happy. Ihamutra means now and in the future. This applies to all of us. We want to be happy today and tomorrow. How? Vittam, our resources. Panchada vibhajan are to be divided, are to be shared in 5 ways. To who? In which direction? Swajana. 20% of our resources should be shared with our family, swajana, those we feel are our own. Next, kama, 20% towards pleasure, pleasure for ourselves, let's say like a vacation. Then 20% for artha, that would be a possession, like a new phone, a new car. Then 20% towards yasha, which means position, a long-term investment where you can become more influential, let's say going to university. Family, pleasure, possession, position. And another 20%, another fifth, towards dharma. Now, how would we define dharma here? Pleasure, possession, position is for the individuality. Swajana becomes one's family. What's the next bigger party? Community, society, humanity. If one wants to be happy today and tomorrow, one should be giving 20% of their resources to dharma. Now you analyze what you're doing with your resources in reference to what Rishi Shukra tells Raja Bali. I know many are having heart palpitations. Many's Wi-Fi, there's a disconnect as I'm sharing this. Why I'm sharing this is because Meaningful Mornings is a rigorous workshop to raise the expectations of ourselves. And by doing so, we will reduce the expectations of others. That's how one can be happy today and tomorrow. If we're not exposed to such rigor, we will only pretend to be happy today, and it will become harder to pretend tomorrow. Train yourself to live by what Rishi Shukra has taught. Prince Arjuna asks Shri Krishna, how does the content personality sit? And Shri Krishna shares, with discipline. Discipline in what? Their senses. Shri Krishna begins these verses by sharing from a positive perspective that they're able to direct their senses, that they're peaceful. But the last two verses are showcasing one who's indisciplined. I hope you're coming to appreciate what a master teacher Sri Krishna is. He always starts with teaching through love, but then also has to teach through fear for those who are not listening, those who are not following. When someone doesn't listen, and then you ask them, what did you just say, or what's your opinion? And they say something very strange. Don't you go, duh? Yes, you've heard that before. Like, it's so obvious, duh. D-U-H, yes? The alliteration I gave you was not duh, D-U-H, but I gave you 4 does. Duh, duh, duh. This is much more serious. None of you are enjoying this as much as I am, which is fine. That's why you're muted and I'm unmuted. Starting with dhyayata. In English, distracted. We have to be careful with our thoughts, which will help us be careful with our words, which will help us be careful with our actions. Being distracted is one who is careless with their inner world. This triggers sangha, or being attached. Being distracted triggers being attached. Our attachment comes from projecting, this is beautiful, this is pleasurable, this is joyful. That's the first duh. Got it? But there's 4. Here's the next duh. And don't think someone else's duh. Hit yourself in the head and say duh. Being attached then triggers kama, or being desirous. Being desirous. In our Puranas, how beautifully the relationship between kama and Shiva is shown. Where there is kama, there cannot be Shiva. Where there is Shiva, there cannot be kama. And you can change the word Shiva to Rama, which means peace. Where there's peace, why would there be pleasure? Where there's pleasure, there's no focus on peace. Kama triggers krodha. Being desirous, one becomes angry. An expression of being an angry personality is being controlling. I explained that in our satsang last night. You caught on to the second da. Da, da, but we are still going. We haven't fallen fully yet. The remaining 4, they're all expressions of becoming worldly. We have invested almost 420 mornings on not being in the world, but being beyond the world. That's not escapism, that's transcending. Once we get to sammoha, krodha causes sammoha, from being angry to being deluded. One has become worldly. There's no reference to transcending, no reference to peace. Joy is only dependent. Sammoha triggers smriti vibhrama. In English, it is to be amnesic. amnesic. One is forgetful of their potential, their purpose. That's your third da. And the fourth, smriti vibrama, triggers buddhi nasha. Buddhi nasha, in English, it is to be devolved. What makes us humans is not our biology, it is our intellect that can inquire. But if there's no intellect, then we are mammals. We should call ourselves mammals then. I think we're mammals. I know so little about biology and science. And at the end, buddhi nasha causes pranashyati. In English, to be annihilated. Being annihilated means one is only experiencing sadness. Da, 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 da. Shri Krishna will eventually share in these verses, ayuktasya kutasukha. Ayuktasya means the one who's disintegrated or the one who's distracted. Which is why in every workshop you've been with me, I've been emphasizing, slow down, unitask. This is the danger of allowing yourself to be distracted. Kutasukam, how can you be joyous? This is described as a ladder of fall. If you can think of the last time that you fell, let's say down a height or some stairs. As you're falling, what do? The first thing you do is catch yourself as soon as possible, correct? It's not, okay, let's see how this is going to experience, and then you just allow yourself to fall. You catch yourself to the railing, to the stair, another person, you pull them down so that you can land on them. So you catch yourself first, and then you have to climb from there. This is the practicality of this ladder, to see that I'm falling, so now I have to catch myself and then climb up. And we all committed to this. At the end of 2020, we took a samashti sankalpa, or a group challenge, to be less annoyed. Number one, to be less annoying. And number two, to be less annoyed. Because annoyance then leads to anger. See how if I can catch myself and I'm so annoyed right now, I won't become angry. If I don't become angry, I won't become worldly. The last four rungs. We continue. Prince Arjuna's fourth question. How does the one who is silent, irrespective of environment, how do they walk? We've completed how did they think, how did they speak? We just completed how did they sit. Now how did they walk? Verse 64. Raga dvesha viyuktaistu vishayan indriyaischcharan atma vashye vidheyatma prasadam adhigacchati. Just the translation today. Viyuktaistu, indeed, they are free of raga and dvesha. As they walk, there are no likes, there are no dislikes. Despite vishayan indriyaischcharan, their sense organs are wandering into sense objects. So lovely how Shri Krishna's directly answering Prince Arjuna's question that the one who's content is walking. They're not escaping. They're engaging. Atma vashyehi. Their senses are directed. Videyatma, such a directed personality, What is it that they're experiencing? Prasadam adhigacchati. Wherever they go, they experience prasada. Prasada means to be cheerful. And one thought for you to reflect on from this whole verse, I will share more tomorrow. Our concept of prasada is always about being at a mandir, and that too at the end of being at a mandir, correct? Here, Sri Krishna's not letting us externalize what a mandir is, what an experience at a mandir is, that you have to give yourself prasad. This is all to come from within. To application. Yesterday, I asked all of you to come up with these sense direction sutras. 6 verses, 6 reminders. Many of you have shared to pause and breathe before speaking, to use your cell phone less. These are very good. Please keep sharing. I'll begin with mine. And I'm flowing through these sutras in order of the verses. Verse 58, Vivek Sutra, Vivek's reminder. Pleasure is pain. I have to remind myself, this is not pleasure, this is pain. Eating too much, watching too much, etc. Verse 59, peace is perpetual. If I want to be a long-term thinker, investor, then peace, once I experience that, this will be forever. Verse 60, engage the mind. If I think of pleasure, ice cream, or lust towards another person, if I don't engage my mind, that's going to keep growing, correct? Distraction, attachment, desire. But if I shift into japa, Om Namah Shivaya, or I am happy, that engagement helps me to not be distracted. The next 3 I'll share with you tomorrow. Why? Because I know most of you didn't do it. A great way to practice manana is to hold the thought and let it refine itself. So if you've come up with 6, now think about it again. And maybe that will become more refined. Shanti, Shanti, Shantihi. Be safe, be sound, be serene, be happiness.